I can only imagine the celebration. I saw that notification. I
Oh
love the
yeah.
wording from Ian Rappaport too. It will come as a bit of surprise. I tweeted it.
No.
I'm like, this is not a surprise at all. Like
Yeah.
anyone that saw him last year, what was he? 27 catches, 260 yards, and one touchdown. He could barely
Worthless.
move. In
Right.
another bad receiving room, he could barely move. Maybe they'll give some looks to the outside. I'm talking about the Patriots here to try and bump it up. But I think it just paves the way if it's Jalen Polk, it's Javon Baker, it's KJ Osborne, Kendrick Bourne coming off his torn ACL. I think Jalen Rager, because of the upside he brings on special teams, we saw Keyshawn Booty, the amount of snaps he was getting and the targets and
Yeah.
making some tough catches. And then there's the wild card of Tyquan Thornton. I don't think he really adds anything. They cut him. They don't owe him any guaranteed money, so he'd be no loss. And I think he's a
Right.
pretty much tapped receiver at his potential. But they have those names. They looked at Juju, and Gerard Mayo had a quick quote about it, but when speaking at practice on Sunday, but he was basically like, we look at our young receivers, we value what Juju did, we need to concentrate on them. Basically saying, this is all about a foundation year. We saw with Drake Maye of how specific they are with his snaps and what type of reps he gets. Purposeful snaps, right? It's not the quantity, it's a quality of reps. They're doing the
Right.
same thing with their receivers. They look at those guys who go in games, in joint practices like they'll have against the Eagles. We need the young guys to get their go and go through there. Let's talk about the preseason game. Drake Maye, this is the big one to me. There's Joe Milton and what he did for fans, especially people outside New England, being amazed by him and dazzled. But Drake Maye, I was pissed off, man. Just 6 snaps. It looked like it was going on script, as I said. I said, give Jacoby a drive, maybe two. Let Drake Maye get the rest of the half as long as he's protected. And then let Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton figure out the second half. I don't care about that. Jacoby Brissett goes, sits, decent drive. Drake Maye comes out, 6 snaps, 3 pass attempts, played behind the chains because Chuks Okorafor at right tackle had a false start and pushed them back. Now, he did have a nice completion on a screen pass to Antonio Gibson, who had a good run after the catch. He had good ball placement as well with his check down to Kevin Harris, but it's a check down. It was like, a like end around rope out pass. Play action pass, middle over the middle to Jalen Rager. It was high, it was incomplete. Get that ball in. I just think they have to be so mindful that it's now to get the good reps for Drake Maye in 3 preseason games and the joint practices. Because once the regular season starts, and Travis, you hate it, but he's not going to be ready to start week 1. But once it starts, all the reps with the ones go to Jacoby because you have to still keep the locker room in mind. If you're saying it's about winning, but then Drake Maye gets reps in the ones, they're going to be like, what are we doing? We're trying to win games. Then you have the vets looking at him sideways, like, why am I putting my body on the line? Jacoby's a guy right now. Give him the reps. We want to win games. I don't show up to get you guys a draft pick. I show up to win games. Once the regular season starts, it's going to be Jacoby with the ones. They should have put
Right.
him out there longer. And Gerard Mayo, he said, yeah, well, the plan was to tie Drake to the starting offensive line. So once it came out, and I was like, all right, fine. I was like, all right, I get it. You want him well protected because that's my big thing. Protect him so he doesn't digress in his development. But the second and third team offensive linemen played well. It was clean pockets for the most part for Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton. This Panthers team sucks. This Panthers team sat everybody. Drake Maye should have played more. I understand the offensive line thing, but the offensive line was performing. And you can protect them. Hand the ball off. Let them get practice of communicating plays, making checks at the line, running your offense to the line of scrimmage. But make it simple. Hey, Drake, 1, 2, 3, get the ball out. We don't want you getting hit. If it's a bad pass, it's fine. Within these buildings, we know what you're doing. That's all you have to worry about us. But instead, they gave him just 6 snaps, and they could say, well, he'll play more week 2 against the Eagles. This Eagles team, obviously their starters are great, and you'll see the second game is when most starters play. But
Right.
even their backups and the depth they have, that's what I don't like, is that this is going to be a better Eagles team. Just he should be getting as many pass attempts and as many reps in all 3 preseason games this preseason.
I thought they were just being soft. He needs to play with the ones for the offensive line. Okay, great. And it was raining. It's like just let the kid play football. Like he's literally going to spend his career in Foxborough. You don't think he's going to be in rain and snow and sleet and all kinds of
Yep.
nonsense? Of course he is. I just thought they were being soft. I was glad to see Joe Milton ball out. The issue I had is the same as you, I'm sure, which is he's going against substitute teachers and Uber drivers. Like, let's see Joe Milton against the twos even. Hell, forget the ones. Let's see him against guys who are going to make the team. So I would add to what you're saying because I agree. I want to see more of Drake Maye. this week, but I also want to see more Joe Milton as well. I already know the Jacoby Brissett movie. Give him a series and get him the hell out of there. I no longer want to, need to, desire to, anything to see Bailey Zappi. I am over it. Okay? No one's trading for Bailey Zappi. He does not need more work to put on tape. We got the tape. We're good, bro. You're getting cut. So I need to see Jacoby for a series, Drake for a half, and let Joe Milton finish the damn game for all I care. But what I don't want to see any more of, George, is Bailey Zappi. Please, zap your ass out of here. I can't take it anymore. Why is he getting so much playing time and snaps? We already know what you are, and it's not good, bro. It's not good.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi, they gave him all those reps. I think we're going to do a game one when we're not going to play a ton of guys. This is the film that you're going to have to send, and we'll send it to other teams. This is your audition. Go ahead, get that out of the way.
Cool, no Milton, more. No Moss.
Joe Milton going against a bunch of future XFL players, like I don't put much into it. And this is the same Joe Milton we saw at Michigan and at Tennessee. We know he has a big arm. We know he's athletic. And again, that's why I said, like, Joe Milton and Drake Maye, this is going to be their quarterback room moving forward. Maybe it takes time for Joe Milton. I can see him being a practice squad guy this year. And then next year when Jacoby's gone, Drake's a starter, then he's actually your backup. But think about Drake Maye. Big, size quarterback, huge arm, athletic. Joe Milton, bigger quarterback, bigger arm, just as athletic. So if Drake Maye, knock on wood, anything happens to him, you don't have to change your playbook. Now, if anything happened to Drake Maye and Bailey Zappi was your backup, everything changes once that offense goes. So they want the continuity, which I understand. And if Joe Milton continues to put preseasons like this, if he goes from a 6th-round pick to returning trade value in his 2nd, 3rd years of the league as a 4th or a 3rd rounder, then guess what, man? That's a great ROI just on draft picks and prospects. Because Drake Maye, why you took him at 3, is he's the guy for the next 10 years. But the Joe Milton on that touchdown pass to Jaquay Jackson, look, good pump fake, read the single cover safety on the free safety, drew him to the other side of the field, fit it in. Jaquay Jackson with a good double move, but was wide open. He's not going to get that open. It was a busted coverage. He will not get that open when it comes time for the regular season. Don't put too much stock into Joe Milton. The priority should be, why did Drake Maye not play that much? And I am going to be patient with Gerard Mayo. I'm going to be patient with Alex Van Pelt because I think the workflow that they gave Drake Maye reflects how slow they want to take it with him in his development. They literally had to restart at his footwork the second he got to Foxborough. Literally had to change which foot he leads within the shotgun, how he takes a shot under center, a snap under center, everything like that. So it's a big restart, and they don't want to go too fast or mess it up. He still needs to see live action, and he still needs to get better. But for anyone to be clamoring Joe Milton, like, why don't we play that guy? There's been a lot of bad quarterback play in New England ever since 2020. I'm talking to Cam Newton years. For them to see a flash like Joe Milton will excite them. They just haven't seen what Drake Maye can do yet. And it goes back to, keep in mind, Drake Maye with more reps has less interceptions and less sacks than what Joe Milton has taken when Joe Milton himself is going against worse defenders. I'm talking about practice here, not in the preseason games.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you may be right. We don't know anything on any of these kids. My point is this. Even if Joe Milton ends up being better than Drake Maye and beating him out for QB1 one day, we don't know. But I will say this. I need to see the kids. I don't need to see Jacoby Brissett. I don't need to see Bailey Zappi. So I'm hoping in the game against the Eagles and even the last preseason game against the Commanders, let's get the youth movement started at quarterback. I don't need a ton of reps from the old dogs who can't play. You know how they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks? No shack, Sherlock, because Jacoby Brissett nor Bailey Zappi are learning any new tricks at all. I need Drake Maye and Joe Milton to get more time in these next few preseason games. And the other thing I want to see is something I mentioned to you going back to the Carolina game. I would like to see the Patriots in a close game late at some point in this preseason. I don't care who's quarterback. And I want to see Gerard Mayo and his coaching staff, George, call the game, manage the clock. How do they deal with that pressure? Even though it's preseason and it's fake pressure, I still want to see them deal with it and how they come together as a staff and handle that. I want to see both young quarterbacks in Milton and Drake Maye get more playing time. And I want to see the young coach in a pressure situation at some point in this preseason.